Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Katarina and I'm an English teacher from Canada. Guys, today I've got a lesson for you about dialogue at the museum. We will focus on conversation that you can have for a better experience at the museum. Today, in part 1 of this lesson, we will focus on dialogue between yourself and the people who work at the museum. For example, someone at the ticketing booth, your tour guide, or the security guard. In part 2 of this lesson, we will focus on dialogue between yourself and your friends, colleagues, and family about your experiences at the museum. So please subscribe to my channel to never miss a new lesson coming out every week. And guys, let's get into today's topic, conversation at the museum. Alright guys, let's begin by giving the museum a call before you visit. You want to make sure they are open before you take the time to travel there. So give a call and someone from the customer service desk will answer. You can ask them something like this. Hi there, I'm just calling to find out your hours for today. What time do you open today? What time do you close today? I know today is a special holiday, so I'm just calling to see if you're open today. A lot of museums will remain open on holidays where other businesses might be closed. A lot of people don't have work on a day like this, so it's a good day for the museum to be open, to provide activities for families and for just other people to visit. So it's a great question because some museums will be open on holidays. So give them a call to find out about their working hours. When you arrive at the museum, you might have lots of questions about the cost. How much money does it cost to enter and visit the museum? Usually, there is a general admission for adults, and museums tend to offer some discounts. For example, for children. Children 5 years and under might get a discount, for example. Every museum is going to be different. Some museums offer discounts for students. If you have a valid student card, you can show this card at the admissions booth and they will offer a discount on your admission. So there's many questions you can ask in regards to admissions. Let's look at a couple examples. How much is admission? Or how much does admission cost? Here you will find out the general cost of entering the museum. Do you offer any discounts on admission? Throughout the year, some museums will host special events where admission to the museum is free. I've even seen some museums where they pick one day of the week, for example, Thursdays, and every Thursday all year, admission to the museum will be free. That means you can come and, sometimes they will say you can give a donation, so you can give as much as you like as a donation, but the actual admission to the museum is free. So, how can you ask about this? Do you offer any free admission to the museum? Are there any days of the week or of the year where admission to the museum is free? Here you will find out all the details. In order to promote more visitors to the museum, some of them will offer a yearly pass. So you can buy yourself a membership to the museum. Usually you will get a special card, maybe even with your name on it. You will get admission to the museum for an entire year for one cost. Do you offer a yearly membership to the museum? This is especially nice for families that like to visit often. There are usually many special programs for children at museums. Yearly memberships come with all sorts of other bonuses. For example, being allowed to come to special events at no extra cost, maybe getting a discount at the restaurant or at the cafe that might be at the museum. So there are all sorts of perks to getting the yearly membership. Are there any perks to getting the yearly membership? Perks, just special things that make this year membership worthwhile. Why would you get this rather than just the general admission? When you visit a museum, you will notice that they have set exhibits and exhibitions. These exhibits are there year-round. You can visit this museum, this year, next year, the exhibit will be there. It's just a part of the museum. However, there are special exhibits and exhibitions that travel from one museum to another. And usually, these special exhibits will have an additional fee. So you can visit the museum with the general fee, but if you want to see this special exhibit or exhibition, you have to pay an extra fee. So you can ask about this because you don't want, there to be any surprises. Is there an additional fee for the special exhibit? Instead of special, you could use the name of this specific exhibit. Maybe a new dinosaur finding happened somewhere around the world and they're traveling to different museums to showcase. So you could ask about that specific exhibit. When I go to the museum, I love just taking my time, walking around, reading everything, reading the posters. However, it's also fun to get a guided tour. So someone who works at the museum as a tour guide will take you around and give you all sorts of extra information about the exhibits. I think this is especially nice at art galleries because there's just so much more to this story, the life of the artist and how did they get to paint or create this specific piece of art. So I really love guided tours at art galleries. You can ask admissions desk about this when you're entering. Do you offer guided tours at the museum? Are there any guided tours today? Usually tours are in small groups, so they will happen at specific times in order to allow for more people to come and be a part of this tour. Maybe there are tours that are one-on-one, so you can absolutely ask about this. Are the tours in groups? Do you offer one-on-one tours? I personally prefer one-on-one tours. So you can ask lots of questions, have conversation with the tour guide, but usually they're in small groups. It's always a little bit hard to hear if you're in the back of the group, you're kind of just following everyone along, but you know what? Both are a fantastic experience. So ask about tours at your local museum. In order to find out if there are any special events or special exhibits on at the museum, you can ask a couple of helpful questions at the information desk. Are there any special exhibits on right now? Exhibits or exhibitions. An exhibit is a smaller display of artifacts, whereas an exhibition is a large-scale showing of various artifacts. Does the museum host any special events? I've heard of some museums that will have special events maybe once a month where you can mix and mingle with other people. There can be like hors d'oeuvres and drinks being served, just something out of the ordinary from the regular experience at the museum. Here's a question you might have for the security officer while you're walking around the museum. Are you allowed to take photographs? You could be specific and ask a photograph of what? Are you allowed to take photographs of the artwork here? Sometimes you are allowed to take photos and sometimes you're not. Usually there will be a small picture beside the work of art or the artifact, so you will see a camera with a big line through it, but you can always ask one of the security officers if you're not sure. You don't want to get in trouble for taking photographs. Some special installations at the museum are made especially so you can touch. I recently went to a museum in British Columbia, and this exhibit was about languages from all over the world. You could walk up to each stand and click the button, and you would hear different voices and different languages saying common phrases. This exhibit was so spectacular. So this exhibit you could absolutely touch. You had to touch it to press the button. But very often you cannot touch the artifacts. So just to be sure, you can always ask about this. Are you allowed to touch any of the artifacts in this exhibit? Sometimes it can be overwhelming with the sheer variety of exhibits at certain museums. There can be so many different floors, and it's honestly happened to me where I've arrived at a museum and I didn't realize how big it was, and I did not have time to see all of it. So you could ask something like this: which exhibit would you recommend we start with? Which exhibit or exhibition is the most popular? I think museums are absolutely incredible. I love visiting museums when I go to new cities. Leave me a comment and tell me about your favorite museums, some of your favorite exhibits and exhibitions, and why. I would love to read about that. And guys, remember, there will be a part 2 of this video where we focus on dialogue between ourselves and our friends, family, colleagues about our experiences at the museum. I think it's a very fascinating topic for conversation. There's so much you could ask about this experience, so make sure you subscribe to my channel to not miss part 2 of this lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, everybody, bye!